That's bizarre. Well, greetings, world, and greetings, Seven Spot. It's Seven Spot Jim, and looks like we're adding Paul to the show. Greetings,
Hi,
Paul, and greetings, John,
Hello.
and it's me, Seven Spot Jim. Listen, guys, this is going to be. I was saying to you guys before, this is something. I have to apologize a little because yesterday we were going to have a Weekend Blat show, and quite frankly, I had the flu. I still have the flu. I'm not feeling the best, but we're gonna force our way through this thing. But something good has come out of it because we've come up with maybe perhaps a new show theme for the week. This one's going to be replicas, body kits, and other fake news. So I'm just going to say this is going to be a collection of some of the thoughts and mail that's come in and over this last week, and some thoughts for us to ponder. So how are you doing, John?
Very good. It's actually it was cold last night here, nice and sunny this morning. Obviously dark, but I have noticed the evenings are getting lighter, so spring is definitely on its way.
Yep.
And
how about you, Paul? Where are you from? And how is the weather where you're at?
It's cold where we am.
Where are you?
I work outside. I'm in Dudley in the West Midlands, UK.
Uh-huh. And how far is that from you, John?
Half an hour, something like that.
Oh wow!
I wouldn't like to walk it, John.
Well, let's get started. But hang on. Looks like I got a call coming in. One sec.
Wonder who that could be.
Just hang on. Hello? This is Seven Spot Jim. It's who? What do you mean? What have you got to say about our topic?
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff.
And it all goes downhill from there.
Give him my regards. Hope he's running the country well. Hope he's running the country well.
Yeah. So having said that, it's Seven Spot, and today's show is going to be all about replicas, body kits, and other fake news, obviously. But we want to say that we do love our sevens, our real engineering rights Lotus 7 members and Caterham 7 members, no matter where you are. And we want to assure you that soon, Michael Rimpow, listen up. We will have a walk around interview with you as soon as we can arrange to find an interpreter, because we do want to have a German only interview for your fabulous car. And along that line, I want to say that we are now interviewing some people that I think will make some nice doing some nice reporting from different countries. I'm going to say right off the bat, we do have somebody in Germany that we're talking to that I think could work out really well for us, and he's indicated that he's interested in doing some interviews, but he's got some he's got some work details that he has to get through before he can come online and do that for us. Also, we're negotiating with a wonderful guy who's in Australia, and he's got some fabulous stuff of his own to bring forward, and he's interested in doing some being one of our reporters from down there. So stay tuned on that.
There's a big following down there as well, and in New Zealand.
Oh my God, is it ever? Anyway, without further ado, guys, let's get into what's coming up next. I'm going to add this to the stage, and there we go. So, guys, and Paul, don't feel like you're in the sidelines. You can jump right in with whatever you want to say. But what's coming up next on Seven Spot? I want to say that locally, we have a couple of in the shed interviews that we're going to be doing. Some of it's going to be live, and some of it is going to be recorded. But this is David Birchall's T48 replica that he's building now. And he's taken a fiberglass plug and created flexible patterns from the plug so that he could form the aluminum body for this. It's an absolutely fabulous piece of art, aside from being a fabulous car. And we're looking forward to getting together, Steve Dunbar and myself, and a couple of other guests will be joining us for that show. Also, this is Mike Manchin, who is a recent member of Seven Spot.
Yeah.
And he's building a Locost. I believe it's a Haynes Roadster. And this is where he was at a couple of weeks ago. And again, Steve Dunbar and myself are planning to go down and pay a visit to him and do a live stream on site with him. So, John, you'll be hosting that one.
That's fine, because he's not too far from you either. Is he?
No. Yeah. He's in Richmond, so that'll be about half-hour drive or so.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Now, looking forward to this. I just spoke to Thomas Stillwell, and he's got an MK kit that he's brought over to North America, and he said he'd be willing to do a live stream with us. And he says he's not that much of a techie, but I explained that it's not all that difficult, and he's going to coordinate that with his darling wife, and we'll get that sorted out as soon as we can arrange mutually on a date and time.
Absolutely, because that was what I saw on the MK Sports Car site being packed up and shipped, and it didn't take that long to get there either, and it all arrived in perfect condition as well. Yep. Very well wrapped and protected. Yeah, great stuff. Yep. Can't wait
for that. It's going to be fabulous. Now, speaking of Oz and some of the work we're doing over there, I just happened to find this picture and on a person's Facebook page, and I thought, wow, what a great piece of automotive art that is. And it turns out that being the dummy that I am, that it is a South African car, a GSM, Glass Sports Motors Dart. And this has been totally restored by this guy in Australia, of all places, and we're looking forward to doing a walk around with him on that. So that'll be coming up soon as well.
Yeah, it's not a make I've heard of, but yeah, it does look really nice. Very reminiscent of maybe a Spitfire on the front end.
Well, I guess you could say that. It's interesting you mentioned the Spitfire, because he as you can see from this slide, he is an automotive designer, and his business is fiberglass shells that he creates for, as it so happens, Locosts and Spitfire frames. In fact, he just had a chat with him last night, and he just purchased 2 more Spitfires. And so there you go. Of course, the GSM Dart is on the left, and the 2 on the right are his own designs. And they're in pre-production now, but getting really, really close to having a prototype. And we're looking forward to doing a show with him. Number one, to walk around the GSM Dart, but secondarily to get a walk through his facility and see what's going on at the plant.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe we could look at the chassis and then things like that as well, because assume it's like a typical 7 type chassis, but just rebodied with his
he's got
the top type thing. But
this one happens to be on a Spitfire platform, this particular one, but this is one of his, and he creates them so that they can be made for either a space frame from a 7 style chassis or from a Spitfire
chassis.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess that's why he went and bought 2 more Spitfires yesterday.
Well, to measure them up.
And here's 2 of his body molds, so you can see what's coming. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And having said that, I am now going to switch over to what's coming up next. I'm going to bring in, see if I can do it this way, because I want to do this correctly. I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to bring in present. Trying desperately not to screw up. I'm going to bring in a Facebook tab.
I seem to have lost my controls at this end, Jim, so I can't help you. I can see my
No.
messages, but
Oh, we'll get there. Don't worry. We will get there.
Yeah.
Okay, add to the stage. Okay. And we're looking at Harper Sports Cars, and I brought that in on purpose because I don't know if you guys are aware of it, and certainly we did the show on with Craig Harper last week, but he is now on the presentation stage portion of his Cobra, and he's been taking it out to a number of shows, and I'm looking forward to having a chat with him when he gets back to see exactly what's going on there.
It's been very well received as well, because he's sorted all the handling out. He did have to chop the body a bit. It's really looking great.
Yeah, it is, and I had a chat with him just a couple of days ago, and he said, he's a perfectionist as you'd expect, and there's a scene of him getting up early to go to the most recent car show to do a presentation on. But because he is a perfectionist, he says, every one of the body panels has to fit expertly and absolutely perfectly, so that when he does go into production, that it's just going to be a seamless piece of art. So
exactly, because he was saying about all the shut lines have to be spot on, and they have to shut with a clunk.
Yeah,
you don't want to be swinging doors and trying to force them shut. So it's all expertly done. Yeah, great work.
Yeah. So moving on from that, looking forward to working with Craig, because Craig is also going to be working with us on GSM documentary. I put him in touch with a number of people in the GSM club in South Africa, and being that he is in South Africa and in the Cape area where the club is, he's looking forward to working with them to help us produce a documentary on GSM, and I think that'll be absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, because it's not one I've heard of in the UK. Obviously, being predominantly South Africa, I mean, they probably have exported some at some stage, but not a common kit that I've heard of in the UK.
Absolutely.
You never know. We may change things.
So, looking forward, I mean, this is Gary Sanders. Now, a while back, we had the opportunity to do a walk around of
his shop, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that was absolutely fabulous. The technology back then was with StreamYard was in its infancy, and the quality of the feed was not that terrific. But now we've got the opportunity to produce them in 1080p, and 4K is just around the corner. So we're looking forward to having a great presentation with Gary in his personal shed. And I think, what can I say? Have a look at that, and you get an idea of what kind of stuff we could be looking at in his personal shed. So we're looking forward to doing that. But what goes better goes with Gary, would you say? I would say that Duncan Cowper would go great with Gary. Definitely. They're great friends. And
I've seen, I'm friends with Duncan just on Facebook. I haven't met him yet, but I know Duncan's going back to Pikes Peak this year. So hopefully we could catch up with him. And because he told a great story when he was at the top of Pikes Peak and about the turbo overspeed, and they were trying to sort that out.
Yeah.
It's because of the rarefied air. And he was saying it's at the top of Pikes Peaks with a phone coupled together with a lead into a laptop. And everyone was asking, what you're doing? He says, we're just tuning the engine.
Yeah.
And the overspeed. And they said, what, on your PC? And they said, no, by somebody back in the UK. And they just couldn't believe he was at the top of Pikes Peak and somebody in the UK was adjusting all the mapping and the turbo overspeed just using a phone. Brilliant story.
Well, he is going back, and his 7 is still in the US of A, but Duncan is here. And you know what? I thought, wouldn't it be great, because Duncan and Gary are good buddies, wouldn't it be great if Duncan were to host a show with Gary?
exactly.
Now,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
I sent Gary a request and said, why don't you and Duncan get together and have a chat about it and see if that would work. So nothing is set in stone yet, but we are planning. If the gods work with us, so that Duncan can have a meetup with Gary, and we'll do a show from there.
We'll
Now,
sort
I'm
something out. Yeah. Because
I'm
Duncan as well. I mean, he rides bikes as well. I see. Very, very handy racer. And at Pikes Peak, he came. Was it second? He came in his class. I remember him pulling the trophy out. I'm sure it was
yeah
second
yeah
in his class. Yeah.
Yeah, he did great. But what I'm looking forward to in this particular case is I'm thinking that just to do this particular show justice, we'll probably do this as a recording as opposed to a live feed. That way we can get it in high definition as is possible, and then do editing out the ums and the ahs, and throwing a little bit more media in it, and then we'll present it as a premiere, and I think that'll be absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, it'll definitely work. Definitely work. Yeah.
But moving on to kind of what we're talking about today, what we're talking about is, we're talking about body kits and other replicas. Well, speaking of shows that we did in the past that had poor internet, we did a show from the Philippines with Amber G of Homeworks Automotive. And aside from their sevens, which they call a Rapid 7, he also does body kits on top of 7 bodies. And Greg Wood is the designer there.
Very much like a Jaguar front end, that with the grille.
Oh yeah, no question about that. So I'm looking forward to. I had a chat with Energy, and we're going to put together a slideshow, and I'm going to ask him to comment on the work he does, and maybe he can show us some of the tools and that sort of thing. So, going to have that one organized.
Yeah,
and then going to share this tab as well. This is a shout out, everybody, to everybody who either has a MEV, an Exo set, or any other iteration of MEV. We would love it if you would contact us, either myself or John, because we've got plans to do a series of shows on them. I don't think they get enough love. Do you think they get enough love?
I don't think they do, Jim. I mean, they've got a great technical page, which I am a member on, which is, if you want to know anything about MEVs or got questions, go and have a look at their technical page. I put a shout out on one of the other groups that I'm in, and I have got 2 members willing to do a feed with us. So that's James and Brett. I'm looking at that car. That's not Brett's car, is it? I can't quite work that one out. So yeah, I've got a couple of members lined up already, and yeah, let's get the name out there even more.
Yeah. So if you happen to own a MEV, or you know somebody who owns a MEV, or any other Stuart Mills or Stuart Much iteration, please give us a call and we'll get on it.
I mean, now, the thing with MEV as well, they're attending all the shows I've been to. They've been there, and they've been attending the NEC, so they are getting the name out.
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, which is great for the industry.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to move on to another topic of discussion. This is a fellow that I've been following on his YouTube channel, and after this show, I'm going to put his YouTube channel link in the description of the video, and I'd like you to go and have a look at it, because speaking of cars that are a little bit on the wild side, what does that look like to you, John?
It looks like a MEV to me.
But it's not. It's a home build.
It's a home build.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are subtle differences there. Yeah.
So this is Tim Wood's own Exo build, and he catted it all up, and he's built it from scratch. And he's now at the point where it's a running thing, and that's what we're looking. And you and I appreciate the fact that it is bike powered.
Yeah, definitely, big bike fan. I just admire people with those skills as well. And we are following another person that's building a 200 mile an hour, or one who wants to go 200 mile an hour. But yeah, the build skills and how they because you can't just go off and download some plans.
No.
You've got to
Well,
work it out yourself and then get
yeah.
all the suspension geometry right. So you have to know what you're doing. And it's way beyond my capability, but I really appreciate. Sean Finch is the one we're following at the minute.
Yeah.
He's also built an Exo Booster, which I think is
Yeah.
up for sale.
Yeah.
You can't beat these Exo cars though, because the sheer lightness of them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the fact that it's got a nice exoskeleton, so if you get impacted from the side, you do have a little bit more protection than you and I were offered in ours. But that's just me. Yeah. And here's another view of it. But I'm really look forward.
Is that booster powered or I'm not?
No, it's Yamaha R1, I believe. Yeah.
Big fan of Yamaha R1s, obviously.
Yeah, I can't figure out why that is.
Yeah.
But anyway, looking forward to that with great gusto and anticipation. So without further ado, I'm going to remove that from the picture, and I'm going to say hi, Paul. You were sitting in the background being nice and quiet there for all of that presentation. I was hoping you were going to jump in. But
I was, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? You are up to something too. I mean, you were kind enough yesterday on very short notice to say, "Yeah, I'll be in there and I'll talk about some stuff." So
I've been on the mini kit site as well today, and your name popped up because you might be buying another Stimson-based car, or you certainly inquired about one. Is that right?
Yeah, and a GTM at the moment as well. So.
Oh, wow!
I do like the GTMs.
I really love it. Is that the one that's got no engine in it? That's the one you're looking at?
Yep.
You know what though? That should have a bike engine in it. Shouldn't it, John?
A mini kit with a bike engine in it.
No, but you can keep it all mini. Just put that BMW head on it. Everybody will be happy.
Yeah. I do have a friend with a Blackbird engine, which comes something, and he's just sitting in his shed. And that was the first 200 mile an hour bike, weren't it? Really?
Yeah.
And it's a tourer as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, without further ado, I'm going to add this little video to the stage. And would you just tell us what's going on? Because when you sent this to me, the first impression I got was that Paul's a binner. So what's going on there, Paul?
That's the mini Chichi, the grip bin, as I like to call it. In the UK, the road salt, obviously, is in a bin, and it's a yellow bin, and that looks exactly like one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So it's a grip bin in a bin.
It's a grip bin in a bin. Yeah.
It'll go faster than the bin, though. That's for sure.
Depends how strong the wind is.
Now, what's the story on that particular car, though? That's the interesting part.
The grip bin.
Grip bin, okay.
Yeah.
And what is this one?
This one's a Stimson Minibug 1973. I probably own that 35 years.
And it's not finished yet, is it?
And it's still not finished. I keep adding stuff to it. That's a rare bench seat. I've only ever seen two of those, and that's the second one.
You were telling me last night as well about you've got a register of Stimson kits because you were in regular contact with him. You sent me a lot of details, and on the.
Oh no, yeah. Go on.
So where did you get all these details from? Because I think you were generally speaking with Barry when he was alive, weren't you?
No, it took me several years. Bear in mind, I've been into these cars for over 30 years. 35 years, and it's just a little register I've built up over the years.
Yeah.
So all that is my research.
Yeah, brilliant stuff.
And like I say, Barry used to ask me, "Have I got this on record? Have I got that on record?"
Yeah.
Because it is a pretty much complete list, isn't it?
Yeah.
So here's another picture of the grit bin.
The grip bin, the Chichi. This is actually, that's when I first bought it. I bought
Wow.
it on a whim because of 2 holes above the windscreen.
Hmm.
This actual car used to be owned by one of the band members of Shawaddy Waddy.
You were telling me this last night. Fascinating story. Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
And it actually had a camera bolted to the top. And it
Right.
actually turned out to be, well, it's actually, hang on, let me think. The registration is right. RAY 200G was the first ever one. This is the first ever Mark II.
Yeah.
Let me think. It was actually used in 1972. Bear in mind, this is 71 car. All the rest of the cars, 73 on.
Yeah.
It was actually BJU 300K, which is this car.
Yeah.
Was the pre-production prototype,
Oh, really?
and it was actually used at let me think, the Motor Showboat in London
Right.
back in 1972. So this is actually the first original show car.
No kidding.
Wow.
So what are we looking at
There's
there?
That's Sterling Moss and the designer Anthony Hill with his dog.
Yeah, recognize the dog. And the one that
Yeah.
one that's on the left is what?
On the left is Anthony Hill.
Mhm.
On the right is Sterling Moss. Sterling Moss.
But the vehicle on the left is the same as the vehicle on the right, or what? What is
Oh
the story?
yeah, same vehicle. One's got an hard top. Well,
Mhm.
one's got a removable hard top. The other one is it without the top on.
Yeah.
They did actually come with doors, which I've got
Mhm.
as well, and they actually
Aha.
did a soft top version of it.
Okay, cool. And how did Sterling Moss? How was he involved?
Sterling Moss was approached because these cars were actually built by Bourne Plastics. Bourne Plastics in Nottingham actually
I was going to say
did.
Nottingham, weren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they actually did bodies for Lotus.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I recognise the name. Yeah.
And
Okay.
they actually use the same Vintags as
Mhm.
the Lotus did. They made the first 500. Unfortunately, their fiberglassing wasn't up to scratch. So Lotus soon binned them. I think they made 500.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ironically, the colour yellow of them, that was Bourne Plastics had a contract in early 70s to build nose cones for British Rail.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
And to
What,
keep
yeah.
and to keep the costs down, if you look at a mini Tiki, as is said, but
Yeah.
it's pronounced Tichy, it's
Aha.
exactly the same colour as the nose cones of a British Rail train.
Wow.
Nose cone of a British Rail bin.
Yeah. So obviously they were screaming a bit of, and to be fair with you, the gel coat wasn't that thick on them, so they all
Right.
suffer with really thin gel coat.
Ah, got it. Yeah.
Bad cracking and star crazing, yeah, which can be fixed,
Well,
obviously. Yeah.
Well, now the bodies were absolutely sound. I mean, like
Yeah.
mine's a 71 car, and it's
Yeah.
not got a craze mark in it at all.
Oh, well.
Wow.
Never had one.
But that's because it's been stored in a bin.
No, it's because how thick it is. That fiberglass on that car is probably where obviously the inside, the outside bonds together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where it bonds, it's probably an inch thick.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've got the steelwork bonded into it as well for the front suspension.
That's
Yeah.
interesting you mentioned that. That fellow in Australia, who's going to be doing the show with us with his GSM Dart, I asked him because I have a friend who also has a similar type of car, and I asked him how thick the fiberglass is on the Dart, and he said 3 centimeters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but when you've got a race car, you don't want weight, you know?
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, John, I sent John a copy of the build manual for these.
Oh,
So I managed to get a copy of the build manual. And the
I did have
build manual does involve an hammer and a voice.
It was the steering arms, wasn't it? I think I was giggling. Yeah.
So the proper
would-
pronunciation is TG, is it? Or
Titchy, as in
Titchy.
tiny.
Titchy? Okay, there you go.
Titchy.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
To be fair with you,
I
he
think it
probably was
steering-
the first original smart car, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I bet you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah.
It was the manual that made me laugh because it was on about the steering arms, and it just said, and blah blah blah. This is how you fit the steering arms, and then there's the paragraph underneath. It says you will need to bend these. You can either do it by hand or using a large hammer.
Just to 17.5 centimeters.
Yeah, it was. Oh dear.
So there's part of your build manual, I presume. Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah,
Now,
cool.
that's the sales stuff, that
That's the
is.
sales
Yeah.
brochure, isn't it? Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
actually more car pictured in there.
That's a very rare car, then. Absolutely very rare.
Yep. In all fairness, though, it was reshelled because they did subtle changes to it. They cut that shell up to make the production Mark II,
Right.
and obviously they put a shell of the Mark II onto the pre-production. But
Yeah.
Nice looking
But you can-
piece of advertisement, though.
yeah,
So was that.
that was me in the 70s.
Yeah, I was going to say it is. All we need there is a mini skirt. Be
And
right
that
there.
was John. That's John the side of me when his name was Janet.
So this is what the titchy in the bin is all about. Now, is that your current project that you're working on, or what's going on there?
I've got work on all of them. I just keep having. When I run out of bits, I move on to the next one. Then when I run out of bits on that one, I'll go back onto that one.
So they're all, I know what you mean. They're all coming together in at the same time, but in stages. Yeah.
The problem I got with the tickies, with the titchy, is there's not much info in that build manual.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, this car was stripped out. I actually bought two
Oh yeah.
of the same guy just for bits, because he'd mix the bits about. And they were stripped down. So there was nothing to look at. So basically, I've had to build everything, trial and error.
Yeah. Which is always going to take time. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So it's a lot of assembly, then disassembly, then reassembly.
Oh, yeah.
And then taking it apart again to say, I buggered that up. So take it off and let's start again. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All been through that. Oh, God.
Are there many other owners out there that you could get in contact with? I'm guessing not.
There's probably, let me think, there's probably 6 cars.
They are so rare then, so rare.
Wow, they
And
really are.
there is some complete. I borrowed the doors off a guy who had the doors for one.
Yeah.
And I copied them and had molds made. He also had the roof mold, the bonnet mold, and the back panel mold. Because the original molds were broken up.
Oh, yeah.
By
Are you making your own plugs, or do you have somebody who's doing it for you?
now, because I've got the original molds, basically.
Okay. Oh,
So
you
I
got
had
the original
access
mold.
to the molds.
Oh, wow. That's great.
I had the plug. I had a mold, the plugs. Well, a mold made for the doors, obviously, because I had a set of genuine doors.
Yeah.
So I had them made. But as for everything else, it's wash it, yeah.
Wow.
But there's a story to them as well. I don't know if you may have heard or you may not. The guy involved in them was a guy called Tom Carr. He was the head of Tick Sales, and he actually made a Caraboat. You ever heard of them?
I'm not familiar with a carabao.
Doesn't ring a bell.
A carabout, you probably seen photo, video footage of it on Facebook and what's it with the caravans, John. But it was a caravan that actually went on water. You just drove it in, and it was a boat. Hence, carabout.
This rings a bell. Did you send me some pictures of this? I can't remember. It might not have been you. But...
I don't think so, no. But Tom Carr was involved. Tom Carr come up with that design and he was doing really well at it. And he took one on the Thames, and the TVs were there and everything else. And he hadn't fitted the correct engine to it, and it wasn't powerful enough, and they had to tow it out. So Tom Carr went straight back to his factory in Nottingham and broke all the moulds up.
Right.
And never seen him again. But that was a good idea.
Yeah. This rings a bell. I'm sure I've seen pictures of it somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hang on a sec,
there was
guys.
a lot of people.
Are you still there?
Yeah. Have you gone searching for something on the internet there, Jim?
Yeah, I'm just actually seeing if I can view it on StreamYard.
Find a carabout.
Yeah, I found one actually. I'm just trying to bring it on stream here. Oh, I got to bring it in by present a screen.
It's a bit of a pain on StreamYard. It doesn't really like it unless it's PDF, so it's a bit hard to get stuff.
No,
on screen,
it's not that. It's me, guys.
Yeah, well,
there we go.
You've got.
There we go. Is that it?
That's actually the TV footage.
Is it really?
Yeah. I think it was Thames Television or something.
Yeah. I remember.
So that's
Thames Television.
This is a caraboat.
Yeah, carabout. That's the one.
Yeah. So it's like what do you call it?
Caravan.
A caravan.
Boat.
Yeah, a boat.
Caravan that you can go in.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Wow.
I'm not going to play their copyright stuff. I don't want to have that taken down on YouTube.
No.
But that's interesting.
But there was a lot of other famous people involved in this car. I can't see why. It was. The fuel crisis killed it.
Yeah.
But and that in the 70s.
Yeah.
But it shot up, didn't it? Yeah.
So Raymond, a guy called Raymond Mays of ERA fame and BRM fame. He was quite a well-known in the race circuit. He put money up to it. And also, what's his name? It was Sterling Moss and I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. I'll come back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Jackie Stewart. He was involved in them as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
These guys have got a little bit of spare cash hanging about after you win a few Grand Prix.
Yeah.
While you're still alive. Back in those days, that was the primary mode of staying alive.
Not going off on a corner.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the original designer designed this, started building this in '66, as he was studying, I suppose, because he's a designer. He builds furniture now, but he also worked for Ford designing cars.
Oh yeah.
Took him 3 years to build it, and he built it in his kitchen. Believe it or not.
Wow.
The original prototype.
I bet his wife.
Which should have been.
I was waiting for that, John. Just wait. Yeah, he better be careful, otherwise he'll end up with a conservatory.
Exactly. Yeah, that reminds me when my wife at the time came back, because we had a speedboat then, and it was a Mercury straight 6115 engine. It needed the mounts doing, and I was going to decoke it, but it's blind board, so I needed to disassemble it. It was the middle of winter, and I hadn't got a garage. I was working on it on a bench outside, and I thought, nah. I brought it into the lounge.
Oh dear.
started working on it, and the with
And
my
then-
wife at the time came in, and the whole house just smelt of engine and two-stroke, and you could even smell it upstairs. She wasn't.
Yeah.
She wasn't best pleased. And I think I ordered a takeout for food that night.
I can understand why she was the ex-wife.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, guys,
Some women have no consideration, do they?
No, it's shocking, isn't it? Shocking.
Oh no.
Yeah. Now, Paul, you've got some events coming up. Where can we see some of your brilliant mini kits? You've got a couple of events coming up, haven't you?
Well, we have, yeah. With NEC in March, obviously Kit
Yeah.
Fest. Yeah, and well, several shows around the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
looking forward to Kit Fest working with you on that, guys. I think can be even better. It's just like we can build it and build it and build it.
Exactly. We've got some more manufacturers going now as well, but we're not well, I say we're not fussed. We do like we do like manufacturers to be there, but we're kind of like pushing. We want as many members' cars there, and obviously mini kits are going to be there. And we're hoping that's going to be the biggest gathering of minis and mini kits ever assembled. A lot we get is going to depend on the weather, but let's see how we go with this. Yeah.
Well, maybe you could have it bring a car boat, and in case you're waiting.
If it gets really bad, we can just float down the quarter mile.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's a straight mile, so can we have it? If it does rain that hard, can we call it the canal boat?
I'll be interested to see what time it gets as well.
Yeah, probably faster than most of the mini kits.
Oh, I don't know. Some of the mini kits, especially with the 1300s, do have a fair turn of speed because they've got no weight.
They do, yeah. Yeah. The mini book's quite quick.
The mini moke, yeah.
The mini bug.
The mini
bug. Oh, the mini bug.
Yeah, it is. It's quite narrow and short as well, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. 1340 engine in it as well, which helps.
Yeah.
Cammed.
That been race
inch and
prepared
3/4.
Race prepared.
No, I've never had it. I've never had it rolling roaded, which I ought to really.
Yeah.
But it's had a Civic Type R between the islands by me. So, I mean, it runs out of gearbox. It's running an MG turbo gearbox as well, but it does run out of gearbox.
Is that the 5 speed?
No, 4 speed.
4 speed.
4. Yeah. But it does accelerate up like a motorbike.
Yeah, and they rev quite high as well.
It's pretty quick.
Think.
Yeah. Be interesting to see what it would actually be on a rolling road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my guys,
Right.
what can I say? This is an impromptu show. We managed to throw it together, and I wanted to say thank you, and I wanted to also say thank you to our good friend Donald for dropping in.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff.
I'm beginning to like the sound of this fake news Monday. We won't do any Caterham or Lotus 7 walkarounds on Monday only. How's that?
That sounds good. That sounds good. Yeah. We'll keep it something. Yeah, we'll keep it something different.
Yeah. So, guys, why don't we put a bow on it and say we'll all get back together? I know that we're all working desperately on our individual videos and documentaries we're working on. So I'm just going to leave that as the final sort of plug. We've got, as I mentioned, Craig Harper in South Africa is working on the GSM documentary, and I know that we've got. Craig Hutchinson is working on some Stimson documentary, and John, you've got your hands full on a couple of
Got a couple of things
different.
bubbling under. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can't really jump into it and say what those were about. But I am also.
I can tell you. I'm trying to work on Santa Pod for you, Paul. I mean, they do chips,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to get them to do orange chips for you.
Orange chips. Never heard of that, guys.
Can I put my hand up? It's supposed to be a black country tradition. then we're introduced in 2000, and I don't really like them.
Really,
John, you have any idea what he just said?
No.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it back and put subtitles on YouTube.
I don't like them.
Guys,
I really don't.
it's time for us before we lose our minds completely to say goodbye. So I'm going to say goodbye, and we will see you at 7
cheers.
Spot.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
See you, mate.
Thanks,
It's too
Paul.
late. We've lost them.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.